Hello there, I'm Black Bright News, and as you know, I just give my opinion on the news, and today I wanted to talk about SHABANA Mahmood. She's getting a lot of stick, and I'm just wondering whether or not she's got a point. It's almost like they're calling her draconian measures, when really, when you think about it, she does have some valid reasons. Okay, let's think about asylum seekers. They come to the UK for a safe haven because they're being persecuted in their country. Now, what she's saying is that they have to wait 20 years before they can apply for settlement. And then she says, if their country becomes safe in the meantime, they return. Now, if you are escaping a country because you don't feel safe, and then you come to a country where you do feel safe, you should be able to be able to accommodate any situation as long as you feel safe. I don't think the purpose of asylum seekers is to come and integrate into a new country. I think the purpose of asylum seekers and turning into refugees is that they need somewhere safe when their country is being, is in war, or it's being persecuted, or they're being persecuted because of their race, their religion, whatever it is. And so I don't see anything wrong with that. Second, I might get shot down. Second thing is that she's saying that she will withdraw housing allowance or £49 a week if they're well off. Now, what is wrong with that? If you go to the benefit centre, don't we have to justify how much we have before they pay us out? So why should they be treated any differently? That's just my point. And also, she's saying that if they've got money, they should pay towards their housing costs. I don't see anything wrong with that. The media are painting a picture. I might have got it wrong, but the media seem to be painting a picture that it's, I don't know. It's almost like they're saying, they're going to live in limbo. They won't be able to settle down. Can even the legal migrants have that over their head? They cannot plan because they do not know if they can stay. They now have the prospect of, they thought it was 5 years, it's now been extended to 10 years before they can apply for leave to remain, indefinite leave to remain. So they're in the same position, and they're legal, and they're paying fees every single year. So what is the difference? But, I find that when it comes to election times, people always have to slag people off. They always have to make other people look like the bad guy. And they always have to try to twist our thinking. And we have to kind of think logically. Now, they can, by saying what they're saying, they can make the racists start attacking asylum seekers. They can make those who are not sure what's going on doubt asylum seekers or doubt SHABANA Mahmood. And some people might even say she's an immigrant herself. Why is she doing this? Why isn't she supporting? But it's all divisive tactics from whichever way you look at it. Who is the good guy here? Anyway, let me just look at my notes. So, we have to think about why. I'll draw you my notes because I'm trying to ad-lib. If the purpose of seeking asylum in the UK is to have a safe haven, then when their originating country becomes safe, why is it wrong for them to return there? If they have money, because not all asylum seekers are poor and undereducated, why not contribute to housing costs? And why should those with money receive accommodation and a weekly allowance? Even in the UK, benefits are calculated on your income or lack of. Why do legal and illegal immigrants have to wait? Okay, why do legal and illegal immigrants have to wait so long before they can apply for indefinite leave to remain? And that was another question. Why bump it up to 20 years? Why bump the 5 years up to 10 years? So, okay, let me just say, what actually Mahmood is saying is a 25-year qualifying period. Under the new proposals, asylum seekers who arrive illegally, for example by small boats or by overstaying visas, should have to wait 20 years in the UK before being eligible to apply for permanent settlement. And I'm going to do another video on why it's important that they have to wait 10 to 20 years before they can apply for settlement. This is a big shift from the current system where, for many refugees, they can apply for indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. And what's the difference between a refugee and an asylum seeker? They come here to seek asylum. Once they are given the go-ahead, or once they are found to be genuine asylum seekers, they then become refugees. Okay, and it's the refugees who can apply for indefinite leave to remain, and not the asylum seekers, because the asylum seekers might not have been graded yet to be a refugee. So anyway, temporary refugee status. Refugee status under the new plans would be temporary, not permanent. It would be reviewed every 30 months. Their status would be revoked if their home country is later judged to be safe. So they're in this country for just over a year, and every year it's going to be evaluated whether or not their country is safe. Earned settlement route. Mahmood and other government officials say there will be alternative routes for people to earn settlement faster via work or study routes. So while the 20-year route is the default for this group, it's not necessarily the only path. And yes, they seem to be following the asylum model inspired by Denmark. The proposals are inspired by Denmark's asylum system, where certain protections are temporary and revisited, and integration contribution is more strongly enforced. The UK government frames this as restoring order and control in its asylum system. So this is just not rhetoric. The policy is formalised in the government's new asylum and returns policy documents. Critics argue that this could trap asylum seekers in limbo because of the temporary status, and a very long wait for settlement could make integration, work and family life very precarious. But that's happening with the legal ones, let alone those ones, well, to be honest, they would be legal if they've reached that stage. So regardless, until you get your indefinite leave to remain, which basically you either have to wait 10 years if you're a paying member and 20 years if you're not, you're going to live precariously in the UK. There are concerns about human rights, especially because the government also proposes reinterpreting aspects of the European Convention on Human Rights, and the UK is good with interpreting rules and regulation, or reinterpreting them, particularly Article 8, because as long as there's a way that they can switch that wording to mean something else, they will do it. So on the other hand, supporters say it's needed to deter illegal crossings and reduce pull factor for people smuggling. The thing is, most of these people, they don't even get to know that these new rules. That's why they keep coming. Do you think if they knew, they would keep coming? How do they know about all these new legislation and all these new rules? Most people in the UK don't even know them. It's only, and even when they're telling us on the news, they don't tell us the intricacies, they don't tell us the details. They just, make news sensational. So how are these asylum seekers supposed to know, and so that they can then be deterred? Is there big posters in their countries to say these are the new regulations? I doubt it. If we don't even know in the UK, and we don't have people telling us in the UK, how are the bloody asylum seekers supposed to know? New legislations, new laws, and then they're saying, oh, this will deter them. How the hell is it going to deter them? Supposing they don't speak English. Honestly, they don't give it enough thought, do they? But It's all a tick box exercise, and we have to be seen to be